Hey everyone. Yeah, I gotta get ready in about a little while because I gotta be at work early. um, I guess I want to I guess you could say, give my reaction to world premiere, the world premiere, if you will, of the Pixels movie with Adam Sandler and Kevin James. And this just proves one thing, I think, to probably anybody that's been questioning how can Sony get the rights to certain things. And basically what it is, basically this movie proves that they can do that because let's not forget, Donkey Kong is basically a Nintendo property. Pac-Man is Namco. Okay? Space Invaders, I think, are Namco as well. I'm not really sure to check again. But you got a variety of characters from like the 80s and stuff like that, 80s video games, like I said, Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and such. And these are different licensed properties, Nintendo and Namco. So, for anybody that's wondering, how can Sony, secure the rights or the licensing for, for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Well, here's your answer. Right here, Pixels is your answer. They just licensed out Sonic for the movie. Not that they're owning Sonic, they're just licensing him out for the movie. So anyway, you probably want to know, you're probably wondering, okay, what are your thoughts since you're doing a review? Well, and reaction. Well, my thought and reaction is I think it looks pretty good. Now, some might look at the trailer and say it looks like it's a bit of a parody of what we've gotten with Transformers and such, and you might be right. Let's see, Transformers, what else was there? Godzilla, I think, and all these different things, but when you take a look at Pixels, you know that it's a comedy. It's an action comedy, I think. I think that's how they describe it. Yeah, science fiction comedy. I mean, basically the premise, I'm sure anybody knows this by now, is the fact that it's supposed to surround something that happened years ago. Now, we all remember, what was it? Not Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon. We remember how they began that movie. How, in reality, everything that's been happening, why certain government agencies and stuff were not afraid of the Autobots or the Decepticons, is because they pretty much knew who they were all the way. I mean, we even got this, now, of course, we got this in the first movie, but we got more of an idea of it, about it in the third movie, that it's pretty much they've encountered us before, they've encountered them before, and the fact that they've actually discovered a spaceship, supposedly during the Neil Armstrong and his crew's first step on the moon, and that the loss of contact with Neil Armstrong and everything supposedly was because they were going on that secret mission to see what was on the moon. And, so it's not surprising that Sony and Columbia would do something similar here by having the what was it, the space shuttle, whatever it is, in 1982 that was launched into space to find different life forms, be the central reason why these invaders, these alien-like invaders, are sending video game versions down to attack the Earth. So I'm not really surprised that they would take that and go in that direction. But as far as it looks, Pixels looks like a very good movie. I mean, it's basically an homage to the 1980s video games, and how they were first seen in the arcades and at home. So it's really nice to see that. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, the Space Invaders, Galactica, I think. I think that's who's in there. Let me see. Trying to see here. They even have the creator of Pac-Man himself playing himself in the movies. That's pretty cool. You see, and this is what they say. It says, characters from classic arcade games as Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Frogger, and Donkey Kong, among several others, have been licensed to use in the film. So there's answering anybody's question as to why Sony is able to do a Sonic film. They licensed him and the characters out for the movie. So, yeah, basically, this is just, I think, Sony's way, along with the help of Adam Sandler and Happy Madison, but basically mainly Sony's way of saying, hey, look, if anybody's questioning how we get the license to do certain properties, here you go. I mean, they can't really get they can't get really what? I mean, let's face it, everybody knows that they can't use Donkey Kong without permission. Because he's pretty much a Nintendo property. They can't use Space Invaders, let's see who they are. Because they're a Midway or Leisure and Allied Industries property. Everybody knows that. Pac-Man, we know, is Namco, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, Namco, Midway. That's pretty much who they are. And same, I think, with Frogger. No, Frogger's Konami. So there you go. You got Nintendo, you've got Leisure and Allied, you got Midway, Namco, Midway Allied, Leisure and Allied, I should say, Midway, Namco. You have Konami. These are properties. These are companies that, well, take a look at Nintendo. They're a rival with Sony when it comes to the freaking hardware, the console systems. So if there's any evidence needed to let people know that a Sonic the Hedgehog movie cannot be done by Sony because Sony doesn't own Sonic, it's not the fact that they own Sonic, it's the fact that they've licensed Sonic and the characters for the movie. That's all they've done. Hold on for a sec. I mean, that's all they've done. They pretty much licensed Sonic for the movie they're going to make. Just like they licensed a variety of these characters for Pixel. You know, I mean, they could have easily made up characters to be parodies of these characters that they're using, but they didn't. They wanted it to be authentic, and that's what they did. Now again, getting back to the movie, I think it looks pretty good. You know, like I said, it kind of parodies at times, you know, what you've seen in trailers and in movies like Transformers, Independence Day, you know, you name it. And yeah, they're using some kind of event that happened in 1982, like I said, to kind of be the central means as to why this is happening, or one of the main reasons this is happening. So, you know, so to me, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I like the fact that they got the creator of Pac-Man himself in it, so that's good. You know, and I like the fact that they've got people that have grown up in the 80s, you know, as kids, that pretty much have played these games. I mean, you cannot make a movie like this, you know, without being a lover of these games, without having a passion for these games, and that's pretty good. That's really nice. I really like that. So, overall, though, as far as I'm concerned, it looks really good. It looks funny. You definitely know it's going to be a comedy, but it's got the elements you're used to seeing in a lot of these big budget summer blockbusters. You know, like a Transformers, like a G.I. Joe, like an Independence Day. You know, it's like a Godzilla. It's got all these elements that you're used to seeing, and even though it's treated as a sci-fi film, it's treated also as a comedy. I mean, heck, towards the end of the trailer, you have Adam Sandler doing that classic "we're the only ones that could do it" line, and then it transitions to another scene where he's saying, "I was just kidding, we're all gonna die." So, I mean, that's comedy. You're basically parodying, in a sense, what you've seen in other films, and then you transition and say, "No, you kind of use the trailer to, you know, you kind of use a scene like that you've seen many times in other films, and then you transition to another scene in the film where it's like, no, I was just kidding." So again, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a fun movie to go see, especially if you're a nostalgic lover of video games from the 80s. I mean, they use all the classic 80s styles. I mean, they could have gone and done the updated versions. No, they completely kept things consistently nostalgic for this movie. Classic Pac-Man, classic Donkey Kong, classic Space Invaders, Frogger, you name it. They are all in this movie in the nostalgic 80s style. And you want to know about the Ghost? Yeah. They mentioned the only way to beat Pac-Man is with Ghost, right? Guess what? They have little cars that are the same color as the Ghost from the Pac-Man game. So that's pretty neat. Obviously, those special equipped cars and all that. So that's pretty cool. And it shows that obviously if you get touched, but that if anything gets touched by these video game aliens or creatures, that they start to become pixelated themselves, or at least part of them becomes pixelated. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool. And overall, I think it looks really good. Like I said, ironically, it's coming out the day before my birthday, so whether I'm here or not for my birthday, I'll probably be here because my plan is to try to go to Disneyland the week before. But whether or not I'm here, you know, it's totally up to what gets decided. But the thing is though, if I do see this movie, I will. But overall, I have to say it looks really nice, and I would definitely recommend anybody that's a fan of video games, especially video games you grew up with in the 1980s, nostalgic way, to check them out. To check this movie out. Look at the trailer. You'll not regret it. It is a very good. It definitely gives you a nostalgic feel. It definitely makes you want to go see this movie when it comes out. It makes you want to see more want to learn more about this movie and everything. And once again, like I said, if you want a question answered as to why Sony is able to do a Sonic the Hedgehog movie in a few years, this is going to answer your questions right here. It's because they were able to license these characters for the games, along with several others, which means they were able to license Sonic for their game. So, again, I recommend checking out the trailer, and that's all I'm going to say in my reaction and review of the Pixels movie trailer.